I've been selling websites and Canva templates on Etsy for 3 months now, and in this video, I'll be covering the strategies I used to continue growing my shop in the 3rd month, 3 mistakes I made, the key takeaways from those mistakes, and I'll show you how much money I've made so far. The strategies and concepts I'm covering in this video are applicable to any digital product you might be looking to sell on Etsy. Also, unlike others here on YouTube, I fully disclose the name of my shop and take you behind the scenes of my analytics and dashboard for full transparency. So little recap, I started my shop back in February. I'm mainly selling website templates but also Instagram stories and other marketing templates for photographers. Now full disclosure, I don't have any degree or experience in design and I don't know how to code a website. However, I do run a wedding photography agency, so I do have a rough idea of what photographers are looking for in a website. I also spent weeks researching what other shops were doing, where they designed their websites, and learned how to make similar ones using a drag and drop platform called Showit. All that aside, I've never sold anything on Etsy before this. With that in mind though, my goal is to turn this shop into a 6-figure business within 1 year. But so far, while the shop is going well, I'm not on track to achieve my goal. And after a little digging, I think I know why. To put things into perspective, in my first month, I made about $300 with 4 listings. In the second month, I completely neglected the shop because I had to travel and shoot 2 weddings, so I had no time for Etsy and I didn't add any new listings. But despite that, I still kept getting orders and that increased my revenue to $700 in the second month. I also received my Star Seller badge on the 1st of June, but I didn't know that this badge isn't permanently displayed on your shop. You see, Etsy reviews your shop on the 1st of each month, and if you don't meet the criteria for the Star Seller badge, you will lose it for the following month until your next review. So this definitely kept me motivated to stay active with the shop throughout May and June. I set out a goal to design and add at least 2 website templates per month, and I was really productive. I added 2 website templates, a pricing guide, and 2 business cards. And although I kept getting orders, I made no significant monetary progress. And I think it was down to these 3 mistakes. Number 1, I didn't replicate what was already selling. So since I opened the shop, I've had 1 website template which got me the most sales, and it kept selling consistently every month. But instead of making similar websites or marketing content related to that design style, I focused on diversifying my inventory and making other types of websites. My thinking at the time was that I would attract a new audience with these new designs, but as it turns out, those new website templates didn't sell at all or just didn't spark any interest. This is normal in digital products or print on demand. Usually it's one design that carries the entire shop. As soon as I noticed that, I went back to the drawing board and created a pricing template for my bestseller website. And a couple of days later, I sold 2 copies of that pricing template. After that, I got back to work and created a website template that was similar in color scheme and designed to my bestseller website. And a few days later, I got my first sale for this new website. So the lesson learned here is that you shouldn't ignore your bestseller. While making lots of different designs is important because maybe you'll create another bestseller at some point, but every once in a while, you should take a moment, identify which product works, and try and replicate that success somewhere along the line. The second mistake I did was I overestimated the value of my products. So as soon as I saw that 1 website template selling well, I immediately raised the price. I mean, it's standard sales practice. When your conversion rate for a product is high, you usually raise the price. That's because when you deliver something that's of high value and of high demand, your customers are usually far less price sensitive, and raising the price within reason doesn't necessarily affect demand. But it turns out that I jumped the gun a little bit. I do think that my website template is high quality, yes, but I think its price was also attractive relative to the competition. While my competitors were charging $300 to $400 for similar website templates, I was charging between $200 and $250. As soon as I increased the price to that of my competitors, demand decreased. I was no longer getting consistent sales for that website. And thinking back to it, it kinda makes sense. I mean, I'm still a new shop, so if I have the same price as another shop, which is more established and has more reviews, it makes sense for the buyer to choose that shop instead. It's important to try and think like a customer sometimes. Let's say you have a local small sneaker shop that opened last week and they're selling a pair of Adidas shoes for the same price as the original big Adidas store across the street. Of course, you'd go for the original Adidas shop where you maybe have extended warranty, a good customer service, and is just perceived as an overall more reliable store. Raising prices is important. You have to do it at some point, but you have to work for it and earn it first. Establish your brand a bit more before touching the price. The third mistake I did was I ignored quality control. So in my attempt to add new products to my shop quickly, I made a mistake while adding a specific Canva template. In short, if you want to share a template you designed in Canva with a buyer, you have to go to Share and select Template Link. This way, if the buyer opens that link and starts making changes, your original template will not be affected, meaning you can continue selling it again and again to new customers. However, the mistake I made with this one product was instead of sharing the template link, I shared an edit link. A customer bought it, started making changes to it, and it completely messed up the original template. This would have been fine as I had a copy of the original template as a backup, but I didn't notice that another customer bought it the next day, started making their own changes, and it completely messed up the template for both customers. After realizing the mistake, I sent out new correct links to both customers and gave them both a discount on their next purchase as an apology. Thankfully, this mistake didn't do much damage, but it could have been a lot worse if I didn't have a backup of the original template. So the takeaway from this is to review all your listings every once in a while. Check the links, check that everything is where it's supposed to be, because a mistake like this can easily kill your momentum or even the entire shop if you get a bad review. All that being said, I've really underestimated just how non-passive a digital product shop can be. I mean, the designing, the uploading of new products, that's something I knew I had to do every week, but there is a fair bit of customer service involved as well. I got messages asking for some technical help, others asking if I can create a custom design for them, so I did have to communicate with customers for sure, especially if I wanted to retain the Star Seller badge, which measures how quickly you respond to messages. But overall, after 3 months, I wouldn't say it's a ton of work. I mean, I'm a wedding photographer, that's my main occupation. I also run this YouTube channel and another digital wall art shop, and I still find plenty of time to run this shop and keep on top of things. But it's not an overnight success by any means. And while we're at that, let's take a look at how much money I made in the third month. So this is my analytics, and if I filter on the third month, you can see that we've had 4 orders and a revenue of $463. This brings our total revenue to almost $1,500. After we deduct all the listing and transaction fees along with the cost for ads, we're left with a profit of around $1,350 in 3 months. That means we've been making an average monthly profit of around $450. This means we are still very far off the 6-figure goal, so my strategy over the next months is to continue adding new listings, running promotions for summer sales, and I also plan to make websites on demand and potentially open a Shopify website to list my products there as well. If you'd like me to cover opening a Shopify website for my shop, drop a comment down below, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.